Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. It is Monday morning, Monday the 12th of May already. And as we get ready to bring the curtain down on a fantastic season, I'm still hungover. I need my brother to go home. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I really need him to go home. It's been fantastic having him here, but oh, Jesus. Anyway, there is quite a lot to talk about this morning. Michael Stewart. Michael Stewart's an ex-Hearts. He's a Man United reject, but he's been having his say on Adam Ida, Arne Ingles, and he's been saying, look, it doesn't matter what you say, Adam Ida was the worst player out of the three that started up front at the weekend. And I think that's unfair. I think that's completely unfair saying that about Adam Ida, considering the game time that Adam Ida has started this weekend. Adam Ida started up top at the weekend, and he played alongside Nico Kuhn and Dyson Maeda, who've pretty much played the main every game of this season nearly. Nico Kuhn's been out injured a few times, but Dyson Maeda, I mean, you can't compare the goal scoring form of Dyson Maeda. Is that fair in the comments? Tell me. It's not. I don't think it's fair in comparing Adam Ida and Dyson Maeda and their goal scoring. And until the two of them have a parallel run of games, there's no. I mean, Adam Ida could be a 25-30 season a goal scorer, but Adam Ida, according to Michael Stewart, says just isn't up to it. He isn't up to it, and he's convinced that Celtic will go out and spend big on a striker this summer. Of course they will. We all know that. He says that Adam Ida's just not clinical enough, and this will frustrate Rodgers. Can you remember? Can you remember all the chances that Kyogo missed at the first half of the season on a regular basis? Lots and lots of chances. I wonder what the ratio from attempts to misses that Kyogo has compared to Adam Ida. When you look at it like that, I mean, you can change stats to whatever you want. But he says, does it limit Adam Ida's opportunities next season? Possibly, he said. He said, look, at a club like Celtic, they're going to go out, they're going to spend big on a striker, and it could push them further down the pecking order. You have to be more mindful of getting the conversion rate higher. But the conversion rate also comes down to game time. But anyway, you can't say the conversion rate for somebody that gets 10 minutes a game compared to somebody that gets 90 minutes a game. That's just ridiculous. And as an ex-player, I think that it's bad that he's having a direct dig at Adam Ida, saying that he's not good enough. Come on, mate, you never done nothing in your career. You were a Man United reject, and then you went to Hibs and Hearts. You know, you crossed that great Edinburgh divide, didn't you? Yeah, Egypt. Goals to minutes, Big Adam gives a good return for a full season, decent minutes, then we'll judge him, says Frank. I believe that. I go by that as well. That's not the big story this morning, though, about the player who has decided that he's made his feelings known about Celtic. A player that has been at Celtic for a while now, and he said he has no plans to go absolutely anywhere. Let's just see who's all in the chat. Oh, my he's woken up. I woke up at half four this morning and he was still awake. I can't do it. And Ali Boy's in the house, Mikey Boy. Kaiser is in the house, Richard Smith. Lanky, he says, Ada next season, they'll contribute. Adam Ida and Arne next season will contribute 50 goals between both of them. Yep, I think so. Get them a full pre-season. Brendan always says, once a player gets a full pre-season at Celtic, you see the real player come to the fore. A lot of people are saying that Big Adam will get who said this at MT Celts? It was Michael Stewart said it about him. Michael Stewart likes to have a dig at Celtic players now and again. He likes to praise them, but he likes to have a little dig at certain players. But it is what it is. He's paid to do it for the telly. Do you know what I mean? Fair play to him. So there seems to be a lot of noise about this David Strelic still going on. And the transfer chatter online, there does still seem to be a lot of. I think it looks as if we're going to go for Strelic this summer again rather than the Brøndby player. There just seems to be a lot of gossip about it. But then again, we could be completely wrong. So, to the big story, the Celtic player said, when the sun's beaming down, I'm playing football at Celtic Park. If you'd said when I was a kid that I was going to be doing that, I wouldn't have believed you. Never take anything for granted, says the player. His career could have turned out so differently before Ange Postecoglou handed him a lifeline at Celtic Park. He's a player that came through the same time as Kieran Tierney at Celtic. Came through Kieran Tierney, played on the opposite wing from Kieran Tierney, and he looked as if he was going to be farmed out on loan with St Johnstone, looking for the player. But now the Scotland international is about to pick up his 14th major honour of his career with Celtic. Another clean sweep within touching distance. Tony Ralston, the Bricky, he says his stomach is in absolute butterflies when I think about the upcoming trophy day. A Scottish Cup final on the horizon. He says, I'm determined to stay focused. He says, you never know, you never take anything for granted. My family will come along and we'll enjoy the day when it comes. But we've still got a game on Wednesday to take care of before of that, so that's it. He said about his career at Celtic, he says, mentality is nothing that I worry about. He says, when called on, I never let the teammates down. My personal situation and a few other boys here, you're not always guaranteed that if you train through the week that you're going to get game time at the weekend. He says, if we're not putting in the performances and our hard work and training, then, you know, when the opportunities come, like it has just now for him, because Celtic have made sure that Alistair Johnston has had some downtime to make sure that he's fully fit for the final. He says, I'd only be letting myself down if I wasn't doing the work during the week. The fact that you do your job, it's my job, and I love it. I've just kept it professional, and I've kept my head down and trained every single day. And that's what I love about this. It is my job. Chasing titles, smashing records is what it's all about. There's a milestone set by Jock Stein and his Lisbon Lions of 111 goals in a season. And then there's also the 4-in-a-row champions radar. He's loving it, isn't he? They've got 2 games left to make even more history with a trip to Pittodrie or Wednesday night. That's going to be a fantastic game. After that result at the weekend, what happened to Aberdeen? Aberdeen let everyone in Scotland down. Aberdeen let everyone down, didn't they? They let everyone down. They allowed Barry Ferguson to get a win at Ibrox. But anyway, we'll talk about them in a minute. We need to keep on going on about Tony Ralston, who has said, my love is with Celtic and I'm going nowhere. He says that this team want to keep on pushing. There's never nothing to play for. There's always something you want to achieve at Celtic. We're getting closer to the target. We've got a few games left to complete some achievements and targets we've got and have had since the beginning of the season. We did well to get closer to ones today. We just need to keep going again on Wednesday. Obviously, we want to finish off the season as strong as possible and really make it memorable. We know what we need to do and what order we need to do it. It's already been a magnificent season for the boys in the squad and everyone involved. So we double down now and we finish even harder and stronger than we can, which is absolutely fantastic. He says he's a die-hard Celtic fan. He comes from a Celtic family. The Bells Hill born boy loves the fact that ever since he came through Celtic at the age of 9-year-old, he says getting his hand on silverware with his loved ones never gets old. He's loving every minute of the run of games since Alistair Johnston's been out. And he says, I'm glad that I'm a hugely valued member of Brendan Rodgers' team. He also said that he wants to follow in the footsteps of James Forrest and Callum McGregor. Yes, he wants to be a Celt for life. That makes me happy. Makes me happy in a way. It does make me happy in a way because you need players like him at the club. You know, he's a modern day. He's a modern day. The players around him. He knows he's maybe not as good as the player that keeps him out. When you look back at it over the season, over the years, he had a Croatian that come in and stake claim to that position, and he just kept on doing his work. Tony Ralston never complained. I do that, Lanky. I do that. And plus, I was late getting up. I'll be honest. The missus isn't here, so her alarm is going off. Right, so when her alarms aren't going off, I'm not setting an alarm, and then I'm not getting up. And then my brother's still here, so it's late nights and early mornings, then they go together. And trying to do a recorded video at this time of the morning. Give me a break, man. Oh, and then I've got to come home this weekend. That'll be a laugh. Don't know how we're going to manage videos that way. But anyway, we'll have to go old school. We're going to have to go old school and do some vlog type videos. Anyway, Tony Ralston says he wants to stay at Celtic for life, and he wants to follow in the footsteps of James Forrest and Callum McGregor. The only thing that will let him down with the statistics when he gets to the end of his career at Celtic. Yep, Ralston's just a great lad. I always known that he's the second choice, but never forget the 90 plus 6-time injury winner up at Ross County. Ross County away, where he scored that goal. And that went on to be ultimately the game that turned the season for Ange Postecoglou, and it was the one that went on to help us win the league that year. And everyone remembers Tony Ralston scoring from the header, and then running into the fans behind the goals up at Ross County. Fantastic. And the over-exuberance from him. Your sound's coming and going because I'm probably choked up, mate. Wait 2 seconds. It's probably me that's coming and going more than anything. Restart your app, because it's all fine on here. I'll do this. I wouldn't have believed you. There we go. Anyway. I'm sure you just say it for the banter on this channel now. Anyway, Tony Ralston, do you think that he's a Celt for life? I think so. I think he's a Celt for life. Will Adam Idah come through with a full pre-season? Adam Idah and Arnie Engels, will they be better players going against the grain? What Michael Stewart said. I think so. Now we turn our eyes to Aberdeen. We go for the final away game of the season. But should we talk about the Celtic Ultras situation first of all? Yeah, before we go into Aberdeen, we're going to talk about the Celtic Ultras situation. The Green Brigade put out a statement last night. Where is the Green Brigade statement? I better get it up. I'll read it in full. The Green Brigade did put out another statement last night. Solid, fairer deal for fans. Football in Scotland is sustained by its supporters. No other country can match Scotland's remarkable per capita. I don't like it when they put that, especially when you see so many empty grounds. When I watched 2 Spanish games yesterday, and it was full houses. There's not an empty seat, and nobody leaves. I'm going to say it. Nobody leaves with 5-10 minutes to go in the Spanish games. Sorry, but they don't. Both games that I watched yesterday, there were full houses until the 90th minute. So please, please, please stop this bullshit back home. Per capita, we've got the greatest attendance. We're a small country, but we leave fucking games 10-15 minutes to go. While we lack the financial muscle in other leagues, Scottish football thrives through its organic supporter culture. We turned into a hundred all of a sudden. Across the grounds, fans generate atmosphere, create vibrant displays, help provide drama and excitement. They make a game special. Now, I'm old enough to remember Celtic Park when we didn't need fans groups. I'm old enough to remember Celtic Park when it was jumping, and it wasn't too long ago. I can remember when Celtic Park was jumping, the whole stadium singing, Pierre, there's only one Pierre, when he goes to take a free kick. Do you know, and louder than anything that the Green Brigade could recreate in this day and age. You're like Norman Collier on the mic. Well, I'm not restarting it, so you just need to deal with it. People in this chat using Ibrox Wi-Fi, you need to sort it out. I think you are using Ibrox Wi-Fi. Because I've just checked it, and my brother's just checked it on the phone, and it's coming through fine here. So it's your Wi-Fi. The good old 90s, it was the best days for our atmosphere. It was. And it was during the 90s, Lanky, where we were getting beat. And you would have the Celtic stadium singing, we always look on the bright side of life. Do you know what I mean? And it was a completely different culture then. Now for these, and I love the Green Brigade. I love the Green Brigade and I love the boys and I love what they bring to the game. But claiming this godforsaken right that they provide everything is wrong. And there is times that you need to, they have their agenda. They have their agenda, which is to get a Celtic end ultras section, which I think would be a disaster, but they can't keep the top half of the standing section as it is, in conjunction with the bottom half of the standing section. So I don't want to follow it anyway, but you've got to show both sides of the coins. You can't. I can't come on here and say yes, I do love the Green Brigade. The channel was built on a lot of Green Brigade stuff 15 years ago. But you can't come out and say that across grounds fans generate atmosphere and create vibrant displays. Other ultras groups are like 20 people, are you saying that St Johnstone ultras are a massive fucking section? Come on, you're talking about a 3% section. The Scottish, not even that. It's probably about a 2% set. If you want to talk about per capita, the ultras movement in Scotland is maybe about 1% of fans that go to games. So don't claim this thing that you're talking for all supporters. And I think that a lot of people will side with that one. And a lot of people won't. A lot of people will say, shut the fuck up, the ultras are brilliant. Yes, they are. But you can't. Let's move on. Despite the contribution from fans, in Scotland are often shortchanged. Rising ticket prices across clubs are a huge financial burden on supporters, making it harder for us fans to follow their team. Meanwhile, instances of heavy-handed policing, authoritarian stewarding, have seen the ordinary fans treated like cattle or criminals. The press also repeatedly misrepresent working-class fans, amplifying insulated incidents, whilst ignoring overwhelming positive impact of supporter culture. Please don't use that. Because that's them that run about and we do our marches because it's our culture. It's our culture. We talk about 16 fucking 90 because it's our fucking culture. Right? Scottish football is not characterised by clickbait headlines, by the thousands of fans travelling home and away to support their teams throughout and thick and thin. And also support food banks, mental health initiatives, community action, but for many fans, their dedication has been taken for granted. Has it? Really? So they're now having a dig at other fans. For many fans, our dedication has been taken for granted. Jesus, God, I should have read this before I've read it. We've been treated like a passive financial contributors rather than a valued stakeholder. Ultras groups across Scotland recognise that there is a need for action and have been coordinating these issues. We are calling on all fans, all clubs, to set aside the rivalries and call for a fairer deal for supporters. I'm all for that, but having a dig and claiming that you're the best thing about Scottish football and having a dig at other fans saying, wow, but for many fans, our dedication has been taken for granted. How do you feel about that in the comments? Wow. There's no atmosphere unless the Green Brigade and the boys are there. Without them, it's like a graveyard, says Lanky. Yeah, we know that. But without the Green Brigade and the boys, we never had them back in the day. The crowd kind of got everyone up. And maybe they have a point saying that other fans have taken their noise in the corner, or is it? I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Do other fans around the grounds not sing? Because I can remember sitting with an old boy when the Ultras section was up the back of us, when it was just a wee section up the back, and we sat in 111. And there was an old boy that had been going to the game. He was retired, he was in his 70s, and he'd been going to the game since he was a lad, and he was like, I wish that fucking drum would shut the fuck up, it's doing my head in. And maybe there's a lot of that at the game. I mean, there's maybe a lot of that at the game. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people that have went to the games. The Green Brigade have only been here since 2006. And although there's a lot of older folk in the Green Brigade, and there's a lot of guys in their 50s in the Green Brigade, well, there was, maybe not so much now, I'm not too sure. Yeah, it's exactly. Richard Smith hits it on the head. Richard Smith. Fair play to Richard Smith. And Lanky. We had the Jungle Boys back in the day. They weren't so political like ultras nowadays. And then Richard goes on to say, it's hard to get excited when teams sit in against us. It is. It is hard to get excited about it. And, we need... And this is when it comes down to Celtic, because we always had a flair player. When was the last time that we had a real good flair player? Now, you can say that Kyogo was fantastic on attack, but when was the last time that we had a midfielder that could take on 2 or 3 players and create something magnificent? Can take a free kick. We never get free kicks now. We never. The excitement came from the team that made Celtic Park the place it was. So with the Green Brigade saying that they're the ones that create all the atmosphere, you have to take in consideration that it was the team and the way that the team played and the Celtic way. It was the Celtic way, the players that we've had. I mean, you've had Paul McStay's in the past. You've had Nakamura type players. Lubo Moravcik. They got bums off seats. We don't have that. We don't have that in this day and age. So that's Celtic's fault. It's not the Green Brigade taking the moral high ground here. It's Celtic's fault that we don't create that type of game. And Brendan Rodgers will say, oh, well, we play fast attacking football. People like to see raw talent. And people like to see damn good football players. Now, I'm not having a dig at this squad. I think it's a fantastic squad. But when you look back the history of Celtic Park, you can go all the way back to the earlier days when you had Jimmy Johnston floating past players, wee guy. Tom Rogic, he could skip past players. He got bums off seats. You got the anticipation. That's what makes an atmosphere at the ground. The anticipation that the guy's going through the middle and it's like, can he make the pass? Can we get the goal? Have we got too used to success then? Have we got too used to high-scoring games? Is it because of the fact that football in Scotland has went really defensive and the other man, Jota, you could say Jota, but he's a winger. Do you know, he's a winger. We've never had nobody in midfield. This going down the wings and getting balls in should be standard. Alan Thompson did it. Alan Thompson, I mean, you're saying Jota, and I'll say, well, Alan Thompson did it under Martin O'Neill. He doesn't get the praise that Jota gets. The ball out to Thompson, Sutton, Larson, goal. That was it. And that wasn't that long ago. Well, it was 20 odd years ago. And last time he scored a free kick was a few years ago away at Real Madrid. Jota scored his free kick. Yeah, it was Jota, wasn't it? Back in the Champions League. Mark says, you're right, Baz, back in the day the Green Bay went around the stadium and fans were loud. It's a modern generation thing. Is it a modern generation, or is it just that the older fans are not engaging with this modern, younger fan casual thing? Because let's face it, it's the casuals for the 1980s, isn't it? It's just the modern day casual front for the 1980s. I mean, they go out fighting, right? I mean, I'm going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons here. It's the modern day casuals. They can call themselves whatever they want, and it's like, oh, we're not casuals, we're just known for... They go out fighting. Tunisia is roasting today. Hail from sunny Tunisia. But there you go. There used to be no crap players that are in the game. Anyway, we went down a rabbit hole with that one. And so the North Club Celtic did put out that statement, and then they put out loads of pictures. Fairer deal for fans. And then there was a lot of... I mean, I'm not being funny, but I mean, when you look at the Hibernian one, there's about 10 guys standing in it. And then you've got Morton. You've got 4 guys, 5. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. Fairer deal for fans. We're Morton Ultras. Come on. Edinburgh City. I'm all for it, right? But when you look at you have to look at the percentage of these fans that want the fairer deal. And I can understand that they're trying to engage with the bigger fan base of clubs. But to engage with the bigger fan base, you've also got to adhere to a lot of the stuff that the bigger fan base do. So you can't say, come and join with us. This is going down a right rabbit hole. I'm going to get hate for this. Watch. Green Brigade are not casuals. They sing and clap. They do have a fighting squad, believe it or not. They do have a fighting squad, and they have organised fights, believe it or not. But they're not casuals. They just sing and clap. Nothing like the casuals back in the day. Like I said, that's made me think these ultras are trying to be like the fans of the 1990s. Well, they are, aren't they? Really? Are they trying to be? I can remember having a conversation back in the early Green Brigade days, and a lot of some of the older guys then did say that we're trying to recreate what we had grown up at the football. You know, back in the day that you would have the jungle at Celtic Park, and all the younger ones, dads would take along their kids and everything, and the younger ones would run around the front, go down the front, and all the kids were along the front looking onto the pitch. Whilst the dads all stood up the back, got pissed and shouting abuse. But anyway, we move on from that. Talking about the Celtic Ultras. I just think that these kind of initiatives, whilst they're all good, please hope that they never put up a banner from the Rangers. Thank God. Because that would have been a step too far if they'd showed the Rangers Ultras doing it. Sorry, but it would have been. I don't care if you're all trying to join forces. Put anything up in collusion with that lot, and it's night as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, right, we now turn our focus to Aberdeen on Wednesday night. Back in the day, it was easier because we didn't have the technology. Nowadays, it was easier to go for a box. Yeah. That wee shit was playing jingles the other ways in the front of the jungle. What? Scott says in the late 90s the noise was greater because we knew the team needed backing to get success against a much stronger Rangers. We've now become accustomed to being top dog. Have we been accustomed to being top dog in Scottish football? And is it getting boring? It never gets boring winning. I'm never going to say that it's getting boring. Not a chance. Not a chance. Having lived through the 1990s, supporting Celtic and the 80s and the late 70s, what we're witnessing now is once in a generational lifetime thing. And it is. What we are witnessing now at Celtic is a once in a generational lifetime thing. I don't think that we've never had such a massively successful period at the club. And when you look at the clubs around the world that have had real good success, you could say Man United under Alex Ferguson. You can definitely say Man United under Alex Ferguson. Now, you have to take into consideration the leagues and the spending power of the leagues. And there's not going to be many teams that will have the spending power of Celtic. But I have said, 2 years out of the Champions League, if we're 2 years out of the Champions League, they're in the Champions League for 2 years. If a Hibernian managed to finish second and get into the Champions League and Celtic were to finish first, for instance, it would then give them a big chunk of cash and say Celtic didn't get into the Champions League. There's so many things to look at. And let's face it, our record of getting through the qualifiers into the Champions League hasn't been great over the last 15 years. So, I mean, everything that goes up must come down at some point. And winning trebles may not become as easy as what it has been. You know, we might not be able to get another Brendan Rodgers type manager. The board might struggle. Players might decide that fucking Scottish football's pish. I don't care how big Celtic are in. They're in the Champions League. It's anyway. We need to watch. There's no boring narratives being thrown about in the 1990s. No, there wasn't. There wasn't. Never boring. There was no boring narratives that this Rangers been dominant to 9 in a row. We are simply the best. There was no narrative then that this is crap for Scottish football. So let's not. I mean, it's the media that are trying to instigate that in this day and age. Wednesday night is a dress rehearsal for the Cup final. The Dom's team turned up on the final. It will be different from Wednesday because they will come out fighting for the Cup. Jed, when you look at the result yesterday, and I didn't look at it during the. I looked at it at one point and it was 1-0. I put it on and I didn't put the telly on. I just put the results on my phone. It was 1-0. And then I forgot all about it, and I thought, I'm going to go in and check the scores and see if Aberdeen are about to come back. They're woeful. They got beat 4-0. It's on the verge. Willie Miller said that he has the fear for going to the National Stadium for the Cup final. Oh, the tickets are now on sale, by the way. If you're looking for tickets for the last game of the season, they are on sale now. And I got a message last night that I've got 2 tickets for the game. Yep, the tickets are on sale now. ZX 750s. I still wear ZX 750s. Martin. Does that make me bad? Anyway. Right, Aberdeen, they got absolutely tanked at the weekend. We play them on Wednesday. They will not want to get tanked on Wednesday because it will affect their league position. And then we're going to the final game of the season, that is. And it is home to St Mirren. It is going to be all over the place that day. I don't know even how I'm going to be able to do the team reveal. I've got so much to try and sort out this week. Anyway, when we look at the SPFL table, Celtic are sitting on 88 points, Rangers are sitting on 71, Hibernian are sitting on 56, Aberdeen are sitting on 53. It's still close, but they didn't manage to close the gap on Aberdeen. They will not be able to close the gap on Aberdeen won't be able to close the gap on Hibernian Wednesday either because I'm taking Celtic to beat them. Dundee United have the chance to go above Aberdeen. What a dramatic and disastrous end to the season it would be for Aberdeen Football Club if they were to end up in 5th position in the league. They're sitting on the exact same goal difference as Dundee United on -8. What a turnaround from chasing Celtic and being on the coattails of Celtic right up to just before Christmas and being level on points with Celtic to then finish 5th in the league and die off at the final weeks of the season would be traumatic for their supporters. Ian Aberdeen, I apologise. But once you get past Dundee United, who are sitting on 50 points, you've got St Mirren, who are sitting on 48. You've got Heart of Midlothian in 7th position, sitting on 46. Motherwell sitting on 45, Kilmarnock on 44, Dundee on 37, Ross County on 35, and St Johnstone, bye St Johnstone, they're sitting on 32. Celtic will be looking to get their goal difference up even more. They'll be looking to get another 3 points that will take them over the 90 point mark in the league. They're not going to get 100 points in the league this season, unfortunately, because they drew too many games. When you look at it, the away form, we've drawn 3 and lost 3 games away from home all season. We can ultimately say that the draws are the ones that really caused us losing at Ibrox as well, and I say yeah. And at home over the season, we've only drawn once and lost 1 game at home. Goals for currently sits at 61, goals against 6 at home. But it's a different story when it comes to away form. We're sitting on 45 goals away from home and 16 against. The fact that Aberdeen are not scoring much, I think that Wednesday night is going to be a game where they'll maybe try and rest some players with a look to the final. Or will they push because they've got the league still to play for? Anyway, we're going to finish up the poll. Michael Stewart has been having a dig at Adam Ida and Arnie Engels due to their price tags, and says that Adam Ida's not going to get any game time next season due to the fact that his goal scoring exploits is nothing compared to Nico Kuhn and Dyson Maeda. How he managed to make a comparison to a player that's played half the season and quarter of the game time of the other two players is unbelievable. But anyway, he did that, and he says that Arnie Engels will be pushed out of the team this summer. I think got me asking the question, will Adam Ida and Arnie Engels with a full pre-season be better players next season? 95% say yes, only 5% say no. So we now end that vote. Anyway, that's us done and dusted for this morning. We win against Aberdeen. Ian will be feeling sheepish. Yeah, he will that. And I will be back at 8 p.m. Celtic Park tonight for a live. Before that, I need to take my brother to the airport around about 6 o'clock-ish. And then I need to pick up the missus tomorrow. And it's all back to normal before I fly back on Friday. So on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are, Celtic fans.